Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Good, Bad, and Ugly of Business. I'm your host, Katrin Becker. In this podcast, we talk to business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, corporate executives, you name it. We talk to everyone and anyone because all of us have a short story to share and something that we can learn from one another. Because on this podcast, we believe that there's more that brings us together than separates us. And there's something that we can learn and grow in every single moment. So on today's episode, I have Mark Herschberg, who has a similar story to me. He started out as an engineer at MIT in physics and computer science and electrical engineering, but now he's an author and a speaker and a teacher. So we are so glad to have him on here and to learn about what he has learned throughout his career and how it can help each and every one of us. So Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
I know that your website is full of incredible content and freebies. And I understand that you've taken it a step further and created an app. Tell us more about the app.
There is, in addition to all the free stuff on the website, including how to create that peer learning program, I have an app called Brain Bump, completely free, available on Android and iOS. Brain Bump, it recognizes that when we learn something from a book or in this podcast, we're probably going to forget it later on. In school, we studied because we had a test, but as adults, we don't have tests, so we don't study. We don't look at it again. And we go, that's great. You might be driving to work right now and thinking, no, this is interesting. And then you walk in the door, you get hit with some meetings, and you've forgotten this within hours, certainly within days. Brain Bump helps you retain what you read and hear from books, webinars, podcasts, blogs. We take the key ideas from that content, we put into the app. So imagine a flashcard app crossed with a daily affirmation app. So all the key ideas, what you might highlight in a book or the quotes that get pulled out of a podcast, they go into the app as tip cards. They are all tagged by topic. And now this allows you to access them in one of two ways, all completely free. You can do a just-in-time access. So perhaps you read, let's say, my book, and you read those networking tips, but 2 months later, you're walking into a conference, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to carry Mark's book with me, and I can't remember what was in there. You pull out the app, you pick the networking tag, and there are all the networking tips right at your fingertips within seconds. So you can flip through them 2 minutes before you walk into the room, and now you have it all right there just as you need it. The other way to use it is, again, you listen to this podcast, say, wow, so much great advice, but I don't know when exactly I'm going to need this entrepreneurial advice or this leadership advice, but you want to remember it. So you can set up to think like a daily affirmation where you don't even have to open the app. Because let's face it, we're busy. Who has time to open an app every day? It just gives you a little push at the time you requested. We never send you anything you didn't ask for. Just sends you a little pop-up that has the leadership tip or the management tip or whatever tip you asked for. You look at it, say, wow, that's great. Swipe it away. You're done. And by just taking those 2 seconds a day, you use spaced repetition to help retain it. They're all also hyperlinked, so you can click through to go to that podcast episode, go to the blog post, to read further. If you're saying, I like this, I'm trying to remember the rest of it, click through, it's right there at your fingertips. So Brain Bump, it's all completely free. And now we're recording this in the summer of 2023. In September of 2023, we're releasing Brain Bump 2.0. If we don't yet have the book that you want, the podcast that you want, you can add your own tips directly to the app. You can use your Kindle highlights or enter just whatever you have, so you can use it for your content as well as all the free content that we give you.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing because I was literally just thinking, what about like in Kindle when I highlight something? And then you mentioned, so that is wonderful. Do you have a process for getting feedback from users on updates, or is there a team developing this app? How does that work?
I'm working with some developers and designers on it, but we very much welcome feedback. In fact, the 2.0 version we're putting out is based on user feedback we got from both the content creators, the authors and podcasters, but also the content consumers, the people who are using the app, saying, can it do this? We'd like to do that. And there's even within the app, you can message us. You can also just message me directly. I love getting your feedback because this app is for you. So tell me what you need it to do, and we'll add that into Brain Bump.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you would like to share?
I think we hit the big topics. That's about it. I'll just share where you can get all this free stuff that we
Yes,
talked.
tell the people all the places.
There are two websites to go to. First is for the book, thecareertoolkitbook.com. And on that website, yes, you can see where to buy the book, Amazon, other places. You can also read my blogs and other articles. I talk about AI, I talk about other topics. You can get in touch with me or follow me on social media. But then there's a number of free resources, all free. I don't even ask for your email. Please take it using good health. The first one on the resources page is how to create that peer learning program we talked about. There are questions if you're a candidate and you're interviewing. How do you ask questions about the company culture? How do you ask questions about management style? I have not only the questions, but even how to bring it up. I have other resources for how do you think about hiring someone if you're on the other side of the table. So lots of free resources, all of this at thecareertoolkitbook.com. And then we mentioned the free Brain Bump app. If you go to brainbumpapp.com, you can also search for Brain Bump in the stores. But if you go to brainbumpapp.com, you can follow links to the stores. There's a 90-second video showing how it works. There's a Q&A section if you're not sure how to use a feature. And remember that depending on when you hear this, the 2.0 version is coming out in the fall of 2023. So get the free Brain Bump app and use it to remember all the great things you learn from this podcast and all your other sources, so you always have it with you and you get better ROI on the time you spend learning.
Well, I just love how generous you are with your information and knowledge, and thank you for your time and being here. There was a lot of great things for the listeners to digest. I suggest listening to this a couple of times. Definitely download the Brain Bump app. And I love that, even just the play on words. We're so used to saying brain dump, of getting everything out of our heads, but I love the double entendre of bringing it back in, that it's brain bump. We're bumping our brains up. So I love it.
The nudge for your noggin.
Oh, that's so good. All right, Mark. Well, thank you so much. I will have all of your contact information in the show notes for people. I hope they reach out to you. And for those listening, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe to this so that we can continue to bring you more amazing guests. If there's anything that you're curious about, any type of profession that you would like to see on there, please reach out to me. I would love to try to find those guests for you. Until next time, everyone.